Good evening, Bev. Sean Turnell was convicted of violating the Official State Secrets Act and also of violating immigration laws. For each of those offences, he received a sentence of 3 years to be served at the same time. And that sentence will actually be reduced by 20 months for the time that he's already served. Sean Turnell was facing a possible sentence of 14 years behind bars. That's the maximum term for violating the Official State Secrets Act, but sentenced today in that Myanmar court to 3 years.
You know, given the trial was held in secret, how much of a defence was he actually given?
It's really hard to know, Bev, and that's because Australian officials were banned from the courtroom. Even today, on the verdict day, Foreign Minister Penny Wong said that they tried everything to try to get in and could not. Journalists were banned from the courtroom, so they couldn't report on every different moment of the proceedings, and lawyers were gagged from speaking to the media. So the best information that we were able to get over the course of this trial was through sources close to the court, and they were all speaking on condition of anonymity. So the details were very, very basic, very thin. We learned that Sean Turnell did, of course, say that he was innocent. The accusation was that he was trying to leave Myanmar with classified documents, and that was the violation of the Official State Secrets Act. But what those documents were, how many documents there were, we just don't know. Sean Turnell said he was innocent. He denied the charges. And, of course, his supporters back in Australia have always said that the charges were trumped up, that this was a show trial. And the Australian government echoed that. They said that he should never have been put on trial in the first place.
When you talk about how difficult it has been to even get access, do you think there's any chance he'll be allowed to serve the remainder of his term in Australia?
That's really difficult to know. At the moment, Sean Turnell is still in custody in Naypyidaw. We don't yet know whether he's going to be moved to a different facility. We don't yet know whether there is an option for deportation. Previous cases of foreigners who've been convicted in Myanmar under this regime might provide us with a little glimmer of hope, but we can never be sure. The American journalist Danny Fenster was sentenced to 11 years in jail by this military regime. Then he was deported back to the United States 3 days later. So the Turnell supporters and the Australian government will certainly be hoping that that might be on the cards. But we're just going to have to wait and see. You never know with this military regime what they will do.
Yeah. What sort of response has there been to what happened today, the outcome?
We had a statement from Sean Turnell's wife, Havu, and she said that this was heartbreaking for her, their daughter, Sean's 85-year-old father, the rest of the family. She said that Sean Turnell had been one of Myanmar's greatest supporters for 20 years, had worked tirelessly to strengthen Myanmar's economy. And she said her husband had already been in prison for around 2/3 of his sentence. So she said to the Myanmar authorities, please consider his contributions and deport him now. We've heard also from Sean Turnell's close friends today who've said that 3 days was too much. 3 years is certainly far too much. He should never have been in jail in the first place, that he'd only ever done good things for the country and the people of Myanmar, and that he should not be in jail. Human rights groups have also expressed their outrage at this show trial and these trumped up charges and said Sean Turnell should be taken back to Australia immediately. And the Australian government the whole time has said that Sean Turnell should never have been incarcerated. They have again demanded his immediate and unconditional release and say that Australian officials will continue to do everything they can to advocate for that to happen.
Good to talk to you, Mazoe. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bev.